We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Business Today. And now we talk matters illegal wildlife trade, as the police spokesperson Fred Enanga has revealed that police are investigating circumstances behind the transportation of marabou stocks to the DRC in exchange of cash. This follows the arrest of 4 suspects of unlawful possession of 15 wild bird species, the marabou stocks in Kasangati Town Council, Wakiso District, last week. We have details.
Last week, police arrested 4 suspects identified as Maska Herbert, Mwanguzi Dick, Kato Dixon, and Tumkonde Peter, all residents of Lusanja Zone in Kites Parish, Kasangati Town Council in Wakiso District, for unlawful possession of 15 wild bird species, including the marabou stocks. According to preliminary investigations, it is alleged that the captured birds were intended for sale to Congolese individuals who are currently on the run, along with Innocent Banarasa, who is believed to be the ringleader of the group currently in detention. The police spokesperson Fred Enanga has therefore revealed that police are investigating these circumstances.
Efforts are in place to trace for the ringleader called Innocent Banaras of Congolese origin. The wild birds were being captured and sold to Congolese buyers. So there have been profiteering from this business in marabou stocks, which they have been transporting to Congo. So we want to establish the motive. For what purposes is it that these marabou stocks are on demand in the neighboring Congo?
Fred states that the suspects will be brought before the courts of law, but he also denounced the false information that was widely spread that these marabou stocks were brought to Namgongo.
4 suspects who were found in unlawful possession of wild species, that is marabou stock, they are to be charged in court, most likely today. But of course, why we've come out to give additional highlights is there was some negative propaganda where people were claiming that these wild birds were being transported to Namugongo, and it paints a very, very bad image after having a very successful event which is followed by millions across the globe. So when you start painting a popular religious pilgrimage with such negative stories, it is really bad.
In the same joint press conference, Uganda Prison and the National Identification and Registration Authority, NIRA, cautioned Ugandans against conmen that solicit money from them and promise them jobs from the Uganda prison and speed up their ID registration process.
After advertising, we announce the dates we are going to do recruitments, and we go and conduct the recruitments. We go through the stages for oral, written, medical examination, and people join Uganda prisons at no coin, at no cost. So by the time you listen to a person asking for money, that is the beginning of the failure of you to get the job with Uganda Prison Service. So I am appealing to the peaceful wananchi, please don't enrich the economy. Government jobs are free. Prison jobs are free. They are only competed for in a fair and just manner.
Even last week we arrested one Badach Samuel Chigongo from Kasese, who was fleecing our citizens of their hard-earned cash by promising them to give them national IDs within just 2 days or 3 days. Yet we all know that to get a national ID, it will take you at least a fortnight or 2 weeks. We were alerted by some whistleblowers who approached us at office and alerted us of the ongoing scam and the people involved. I personally used my own phone and I made a phone call and reached out to this very gentleman and tried to interrogate him, tried to to establish whatever he was planning to do. I told him how I had only 300,000 and I needed my ID in 4 days. He just told me to increase the figure to 700,000 and he would be able to give it to me in 2 days. So we can see how our dear citizens are suffering with such fraudsters and conmen.
According to 2022 crime report, the crime rate shot up to 18%. The report further indicates that a total of 231,653 cases were recorded in 2022 compared to 196,081 in the previous year. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now we talk matters climate change. As the heat of climate change batters global ecosystems, millions of people in Kasese that depend on the Kasese Salt Lake are definitely suffering as the lake is drying up. Now, compound factors such as human activity and environmental degradation have set the legendary lake for ruins amidst heat waves. And currently, the government support has been reckoned. We have details.
The 3 months leading up to August are characterized as dry for southern parts of the country, more so southwestern Uganda. Such, coupled with drastic annual heat waves, have had a toll on Uganda's Salt Lake, Katwe Deep in Queen Elizabeth National Park. In Kasese, one of the hottest districts, Lake Katwe Sub-County Chairperson Asime Wilson admits that over 150 sold pans on Lake Kasenyi after the leadership sold out the panels plus those that had water sources.
Nabali batadde zinankanya amaziba mu springs gatasanidde okubeera.
Government had arrested those who had put water springs where they were not supposed to, as well as those who were cutting trees that serve as filters to avoid soil erosion. Human activity has effectively had a lasting impact on shifting environment usage. According to Chamugisha Mariam, the newly formed salt panels are not helpful as they instead dissipate the little remaining water in the salt lake, further stemming the damage. We need a lot of money to renovate this place. If it is possible to get aid from the government, we would be glad. Kisembo Sadrik, a former worker on the Salt Lake, has tasked government to intervene, revive and restore the activity. DRC, Kenya, South Sudan, Burundi are among the major salt export countries that the local market serves.
Munyanja ziyiwemu amazzi nenga nebasanga byetaagamu ssente nnyingi. Kati twalibadde nga singa kibadde kisoboka ne tufuna obuyambi okuva ewaggulu watusingako ne basobola okuba nga batukolera ku ekyo ne tufuna zipamps ez'amaanyi zisobola okuba nga zisindika amazzi ne gajja muno mu kijjo.
Philip Zemba, the sub-county chief, reveals that the formation fact can't effectively work as such people have to rely on the available salt pans. Kasese Local Council 5 chairperson Muhindi has further revealed plans of an intervening team from the district to study the situation.
There is a natural source around the Salt Lake which extends water, which serves water to the lake. So there is that natural source. Of course, this is a natural resource. We cannot supply it with the gravity flow scheme. Neither cannot pump water from the lake. There is a natural resource, and it also survives on the natural water, which is the rain.
The pressure from the salt winners, as a result of people wanting to have more salt pans, we have advised them that this should not really tamper with the sources of the fresh water of the springs that keeps on refreshing the water in the salt lake to be able to generate or to produce the salt. And so we are saying the number of salt pans must be reduced to minimal in order not to destroy the salt lake. Because the more salt pans they create and ending up to blocking the springs, the water spring that would bring in fresh water would mean the salt lake drying up. And this would mean
as millions of residents in the district depend on the lake for salt mining, the activity currently hangs on the mercy of climate justice to avert the looming bigger damage. Catherine Namgera, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now we talk international news. As the global aviation profits are set to be better come 2023, now the global airline industry expects to record profits following years of underperformance at the back of COVID-19. This year, the travel segment predicts a small $9.8 billion net profit, up from the $9.7 billion loss last year and bigger losses prior. Now, efforts tending towards superior revival have been revealed by the International Air Transport Association at the ongoing AGM in Istanbul.
The ongoing 79th AGM of the International Air Transport Association in Istanbul has shed light on sector performance and undercuttings post-pandemic. Aviation industry net profits are expected to grow at a turn of $9.8 billion, representing a 1.2% net profit margin, which is more than double the previous $4.7 million forecast as of December 2022.
Data bookings shows that demand continues. Now, I think it is important to point out the demand window that we look at is much shorter than we used to look at historically, so patterns of bookings have changed. But yeah, the industry is confident. There are some challenges there, but despite those challenges, we remain cautiously optimistic that this is going to be a good year for airlines.
Cargo volumes are expected to hit 57.8 million tons, which has slipped below the 61.5 million tons carried in 2019 with a sharp lowering of international trade volumes. Total volumes are expected to grow 9.7% year over year to $803 billion, the first time that industry revenues will top to $800 billion mark since 2019. 4.35 billion people are expected to travel in the course of this year, a figure close to 4.54 billion who flew in 2019. Analysts suggest that profit will be driven by North American carriers at an expected $11.9 billion and European operators at a net profit of $5.1 million. On the downside, fuel expenditure is to hit $229 billion, consistent at 30% of all expenses, a little higher than the $222 billion recorded last year.
We're seeing problems in Europe. So while airlines and airports were criticized last year for not getting resources in place in time for the recovery, I think the airlines have done their bit. Most airports, I think, are in good shape, but air traffic control is going to be a problem this year.
Well, there you have it for our Business Today Bulletin, Monday, June 5th, 2023. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Buins and Nakauchi on for the sign language interpretation, the fast, a rewind of our top stories. In the bulletin tonight, shares vast dividends. Bank of Baroda has issued additional 12.5 billion shares to the Securities Exchange. Elsewhere, Somalia gets the nod for East African Community. Heads of state adopt the report of verification of Somalia's application to join the EAC. And also, investment system tolerates IBP. Ministry of Finance has launched the second phase of integrated bank projects. There you have it. We've got 15 minutes to the top of the hour. Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Buins and Nakauchi on for sign language. And we want to wish you all the best for your evening and a blessed night as you wait for what tomorrow has for you. From the entire newsroom production and the editorial here at Blog 42 and I Love You, it's a goodbye.